An introduction to your annual report. Welcome, Center directors and owners. Let's help you get this annual report started. This video is meant as a resource for center directors who are filling out their first annual report. However, this video will also serve as an excellent refresher for center directors submitting their second AR, as so many of the documents are the same. We understand that running a child care center means that you're very busy and your time is precious. It is for this reason that we've created this video to help make the process of submitting your annual report go as smoothly as possible. This video is sectioned by each page that must be submitted for your annual report. If you are submitting your first AR this year, stay with us and we'll work through the process together. We have also set up the video to allow you to jump to whatever page concerns you.
You will want to start with your AR document in front of you. If you did not receive an AR document by email, it can always be found on our website at NECPA.net. Once on our homepage, follow the Accreditation drop-down menu to NECPA Accreditation Process and Forms. Scroll over to All Forms. Once on this page, you'll scroll down to the second last section named Accreditation Award Maintenance and Reporting. Here you'll find your first annual report, second annual report, and a self-report if needed. Select the annual report that you're looking for and download the PDF.
Page 1. Annual Report Cover Page. Where do I start? Looking at the first page, please follow along as I complete the report using sample center and address. You will want to fill in your site number on the first line. This can be found on your award certificate and is an 8-digit number. When filling out your program information, we do ask that you use an email address that is directly tied to the center you are working with. We understand that there can be changes in directors throughout the years and want to make sure that our emails on upcoming changes to NECPA, new training opportunities for you and your staff, or your billing receipts reach the current director or owner of your center. Page 2. Payment and Agreements. How much and where do I pay? On page 2, you will be calculating payment information for the total annual report fee for your center. The annual report fee comes to $275. If you are submitting the report within your accreditation anniversary month, simply place $275 as your total in the box below. If your report is being submitted past its due date, there will be a late fee of $100 per month. Let's run an example. Your AR is due October 31st, 2020. If you submit your report within the month of October, your total fee comes to $275. If you submit your AR in November, considered 1 month late, your total fee would be $275 plus 1 month late fee of $100 for a total of $375. If you were to submit your AR document in the month of December, your total fee would be $275 plus a 2-month late fee of $200 for a total of $475. Please note that you do have the option to submit a check for your AR fees. However, the most expedited way to process your payment will be to pay via credit card. If you feel uncomfortable writing your credit card information on the form, you can always write a note such as "Call for payment," and a staff member will reach out to you via phone. Underneath the payment section on page 2, you will see 4 agreements meant as a reminder about the annual report process. Please read through each agreement carefully, print, sign, and date the document. Pages 3 and 4. Annual Report Checklist. For completion, just before submitting. The page 3 checklist is meant to be filled out once your annual report is completed and is ready for submission. As you review and fill out the checklist, you will want to read each item carefully and make sure you mark yes for items 1 through 9. This will indicate that you have included these items for your NECPA office review. Below item 9, you will see items 1 through 4. Please mark each item yes or not applicable, depending on your program's applicability. Program Update. This page of the report is meant to update the NECPA office about general program changes and updates. Please fill out questions 1 through 6 with yes or no. At the bottom of this page, you will see a set of instructions. It reads, if you have answered yes to questions 3 through 6 and have not previously reported these items using the NECPA self-report form, you must include a completed NECPA self-report form with a submission of your annual report. Please make sure to submit this form, which can be found on our website as mentioned above. The submission of the self-reports simply help us keep up to date on important general information for your center, such as current director contact information and up-to-date licenses. By submitting the self-report with your AR, you will find that it streamlines the process with less requests for additional docs once we have reviewed the report. Page 5, Staff Update. Staff turnover and group leads. When working our way through this page, we might have to take a quick glance at last year's report or at our QuickBooks staff logs. The first question asks if we have had any staff members in the last accreditation year, that is, in the last 12 months since our previous report or visitation, leave the center voluntarily or involuntarily. If all of our staff has remained the same in the last 12 months, check no and write NA in questions A through D. For the sake of this video, we will pretend that my staffing number has changed in the last year, and so I will check yes. A. What is your total number of staff currently? 20. B. What is your total number of staff 1 year ago? Let's put down 25 for the sake of this video. C. What is the total number of staff that is left in the past accreditation year? To calculate this, we will follow the equation B minus A equals C. That would be 25 minus 20 is equal to 5. D. To calculate our turnover rate, we must divide C by B. That would be 5 divided by 25 is equal to 0.2. We must then multiply our answer by 100 to calculate our turnover percentage. That would be 0.2 times 100 is equal to 20%. Our sample turnover rate is 20%. If our calculated turnover rate was 60% or greater, we would ask that formal documentation of a plan of action to address the high turnover in the following year must be submitted and attached to your report. At the bottom of page 5, you will see the Program Age Group Served section for the form. NECPA defines age groups as 3 different categories. Age Group 1, birth through 35 months. Age Group 2, preschool, 3 to 5 years old. And Age Group 3, school age, 5 through 12 years old. Please include the age groups that your center serves and write down the appropriate lead teacher for each group in the column to the right. Page 6, Annual Report Item Update. Annual Report Items for your first AR. Page 6 is where you're going to want to fill in any of the annual report items that were required to be submitted at the time of your annual report. This page will most commonly be required for centers submitting their first annual report. The AR items update on page 6 requires follow-up to annual report items assigned by the NECPA Commission when your center earned accreditation. Please notify the NECPA office if you are unsure if you have been assigned any annual report items. You will find information about annual report items on the second page of your accreditation letter, which was originally emailed and mailed to you when your center earned accreditation. Please be sure to submit supplementary documentation for each AR item assigned following page 6. This supplementary documentation is meant to update the NECPA Council about changes and improvements to NECPA standards. Supplementary documentation may consist of photos, copies of training materials, and/or updated policies and procedures. If your center was not required to submit any AR items, please mark NA in the following 4 sections. Page 8, All Staff Training Report. Who are all your staff members? When turning to page 8, you will see the All Staff Training Report written at the top of the page. On this page, you will fill in a row for each employee of your staff, including both new staff and staff that has been employed with your center for more than a year. Let's go through a few of these examples together. In the column furthest to the left, let's start by filling out our first employee's name. The next 4 columns will be left blank. These are for the use at the NECPA office to fill in when reviewing your report. The next station that you will fill in will be the 5th and 6th columns. Here we ask that you write the expiration date for both the first aid and the CPR certification for this employee. If the expiration is the same for both, we ask that you fill in this date in both columns. If a staff member is new and is currently registered for an upcoming CPR first aid course, we ask that you mark that date in the professional development plan that we will go through on page 11. Please note that the BLS certification includes CPR and AED, but does not include the first aid certification. In the 7th column, or second to last column, we ask that you fill in the date of hire for this employee. We understand that some employees may leave and return a few years later, so please be sure to fill in the most recent date of hire for this employee. In the last column, you will be filling in the total number of hours that this employee has completed since your NECPA Accreditation Award or since your last AR report due date. Please do not include hours that have been counted towards previous AR year's training hours. Once a full row has been completed for each staff member, let's visually scan to the bottom of the page. On the bottom right, you will fill in the total number of staff members that you employ in your center. This number should match the number of rows in which you filled out for your employees above. Page 9, Individual Staff Training Report. What courses did your staff take? How many hours have they received this year? Once your all-staff training report is completed, you will need to fill out page 9 for every employee listed on page 8. Let's take a second. If this is your first time submitting an annual report, we know this can sound daunting. The easiest way that we recommend to fill this report out is to print out a page for each employee. You will want to do this once you've submitted your previous annual report or when a staff member is a new hire. Each employee will be responsible to fill out their form throughout the year as they complete their training hours for the following year. These forms can be kept with the director or in a staff room and brought to the training course sessions. Filling these forms out as you go throughout the year will save a great deal of time and effort for the director and center owner at the end of your next AR year. Let's fill out page 9 together. Please make sure to fill out each section on this page. First, let's write the staff member's name in the first section. Second, fill the employee's most recent date of hire. As we mentioned on page 8, we understand that many staff will return to work at a center after having previously left. But due to the hour requirements needed for new staff members, we ask that you fill in the most recent date of hire for this employee. You will need to continue filling out the top of the page by filling in the employee's birth date, their average schedule time, and then please make sure to check one of the position options. If this employee is performing a job that is not indicated in one of the boxed options, please fill in the position in question under Other to the right of that row. Next, we come to the row that gets left blank the most often. Please make sure to fill in the highest degree or credential completed by this staff, as well as their major field for the degree if applicable. For staff members working as assistants, they must have obtained a high school diploma. Leads and directors require a high school diploma, a CCP, a CDA or AA, ECE hours, or years of experience. It is important that all sections are filled in on this form. We here at NECPA try our hardest to make this process go as smoothly as possible for you, as we know that your time is valuable. By making sure that all the sections are completed on this form, this will help reduce the possibility of receiving an email requiring additional documentation. If we look at the second half of this page, we can see that it looks very similar to the format of page 8. An individual staff training report must be completed for all staff members. For all new staff members, this page should display the 30 hours of training required and 24 hours of training for staff members that have been with your center for more than a year. Here you will be filling out a row for every training course that this staff member partook in. We want to make sure that when filling out the first column, that the name of the course is written clearly in full and not written in acronym form. For example, instead of writing CCD, I would want to write Child Care Diapering in full. In the second column, you want to write what type of training this may have been. Was this a college course? A workshop? In-center training? In the third column, please mark the date in which the training was completed. Please include the day, month, and year. We understand that some college courses are more difficult to pinpoint an exact date of completion, so please include a minimum of a month and year. Try to avoid fall of 2020 or spring of 2020. Due to the precise training hour requirement, we will unfortunately have to request further documentation for a more precise date to be able to accept these hours. Finally, in the fourth column, we will write the number of hours that were completed in the course. We know that some course transcripts only state the number of credits completed. In these cases, we ask that the staff member provide a schedule for their course and then add the number of hours per week in which they attended the course. Then multiply this number by the number of weeks in which the course lasted. Please make sure that the training course taken is a child care course or is child care training related. We also ask that you not include weekly staff meetings in these training hours. If a specific course or retraining was taught throughout the staff meeting, please include the name of the course in the first column and write in-center training in the second column. But weekly staff meetings to touch base with employees will not be counted towards training hours. Page 10, New Staff Process. In the first half of page 10, we ask that you submit a detailed description of how your new staff members are educated on the NECPA standards in which your program is accredited. In providing a detailed orientation summary that your new staff members must complete, this allows us to understand how the standards are enforced throughout the whole center, and how we can work with you to improve and make training on our accreditation standards more effective. This description can be written in the space provided or in an official document attached to the report. The second half of the page is important to note, as it will lead us into what will need to be filled out for our last and final document on page 11. The first question asks you to double-check that all of your new staff members have completed their required 30 hours of training within their first year with your center. If they have, check yes, and move on to the second question. If your new staff members have not all completed their 30 required hours, please check the no box. The second question asks you to make sure that all of your staff members that have been with your center for more than a year have completed their 24 required training hours. Please check the appropriate box. If you checked no for your new or old staff members, you will flip to page 11 and complete this form for every staff member that has missing hours or CPR and first aid certification. Page 11, Professional Development Plan. Making up missed hours. Professional development plans should only include hours in which the staff member is scheduled to complete to make up for the required hours that they did not meet for their annual report. It should not include hours that have already been completed. At the top of the page, fill in the staff member's name and their current position within the center. Fill in the course, type of training, and number of hours the same way that you completed the independent staff training report on page 9. The only difference here is that we will fill in the date that they have been scheduled to complete the training in column 3. Please make sure that the date includes a specific date and not just a month in which it will be completed. This allows the NECPA team member who is checking your submitted annual report to note when that training will be committed to and when we might expect to receive CPR or first aid cards from this center. Additional docs to remember to attach with your annual report. Don't forget, we have now worked through all the pages in the annual report. Congratulations! Now we only have a few more documents to add to the back of page 11. The first document that we require that you submit with your annual report is a copy of your current license. Please remember to include copies of your CPR and first aid cards for a minimum of 90% of your staff members. We also ask that you submit copies of your last 12 months of licensing reports. Congratulations, you made it through. You've completed your first annual report. Please view a list of trusted training resources that the NECPA team has compiled for our centers. If you still have any questions or concerns about filling out your annual report, please feel free to contact us by email or by phone.